welcome back to the Opportunity Zone. We got Mr. Chris Lavin here,
Howdy, howdy.
and I'm Nate Armstrong. We got a ton happening, Chris.
Yeah, I'm not really excited about the news today. I'm sorry.
You don't have to be excited, but I'm excited.
Mm.
You got Fed rate cuts. You got a government that might not be shut down.
But they
really
might
soon. You got a potential housing recession. You got Trump saying he's going to hand out $2,000 checks to people.
Except me.
Except for you,
I heard him on the naughty list.
When he sent out that message on True Social, he said $2,000 checks to everyone except for Chris Lavin.
I'm on the naughty list. My granddaughter's going to be very upset with me.
Or what about the 50-year mortgage being proposed right now? Or all mortgages being assumable that are backed by Fannie and Freddie?
This could be interesting.
And then we got companies that are refusing to do business in New York already, largest trucking company in the world.
Told you.
All that and more on today's Opportunity Zone. If you are investing in multifamily or considering investing in multifamily, you'll not want to miss this episode. All right, quick Bible verse, and we need to say a word for our veterans.
Absolutely.
Too.
Let's start there.
Okay, please do.
Hey, listen. If you're a if you're active military, or if you're a veteran, we truly want to thank you from the bottom. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'm sure Nate feels the same way. We would not be able to do this in other countries of the world, to be able to be open and honest and share our opinion, insight, and thoughts freely and openly. And we're able to do that because of your sacrifice. For that, I would truly like to thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you. Thank you to all the vets. Okay, quick Bible verse, Psalm 118:8. This is written by King David, so I'll put perspective in a second. It's better to take refuge in the Lord than to trust people. It's something you always say, Chris. You don't say it in those words, but you paraphrase like that. And then his next line, this is interesting because it's written by a king. He says, it's better to take refuge in the Lord than it is to trust a prince. So here you have this man, politically, he's the prince, the king, he's everything all in one. And he's saying, take refuge in the Lord, don't trust people.
Smart guy.
I guess that's why he ruled the biggest kingdom of all time.
I mean, think about it. People are going to fail you eventually. God will never fail you. It's the bottom line. People are people. God is God. Huge difference.
Chris, would you mind saying a blessing and we'll jump in?
Absolutely. Heavenly Father, first and foremost, thank you. Just thank you. Please, today, have the veterans in this country be in our prayers and in our thoughts. And gosh, my gosh, thank you to them. Please allow us to have the wisdom that the people that are joining us today need to hear. Let us express the message that they need to hear. Let them see you through us, not our egos, not our achievements, but only yours. Please bless the conversation. Bless the word that we're going to spread, the words that we're going to spread today. I ask all of this in your name. Amen.
Amen. All right. First up, we have Treasury Secretary. He's coming out and saying, hey, there may be a housing recession. And he's blaming the Fed. Yes. Okay, why is he saying that?
My 3-year-old granddaughter picked that one. She nailed that.
And it's funny how it's kind of like political doublespeak, but he's doing that to put pressure on the Federal Reserve to lower interest rates. But meanwhile, they're also saying, look what Trump did. Trump got prices of housing down. They're down. So under Biden's administration, they were around $429,000. Now they just broke below the $400,000 mark.
Yeah, but you know what the response to that is, right?
What's that?
Fed is saying, that wasn't Trump, that was us. We controlled inflation, pulled things back, and we're putting things back on track. And of course, Trump is saying, it was all my policies and the tariffs. And that's why we had the whole disaster with the freaking rates to begin with. These two guys going back and forth. Anyways, I don't have any opinion on the matter.
We won't comment on the Federal Reserve meeting then later this week. We'll just let that lie.
You think they're going to pull the plug on it and drain some rates?
I think we'll see another quarter point.
What?
Just little tiny pricks.
You know why? Because if they do what they're supposed to do, this economy would accelerate, the velocity of money would increase, and Trump would be a hero.
Yeah, and there's more going on. So let's continue on this housing frontier. So we're going to talk single family for a little bit, then we're going to change gears over to multifamily. But on the single family frontier, this is what you'll hear on the news nonstop. So I want to
Before you put that up,
Uh-oh.
how come he's always in the wind?
In the wind?
Yeah, put the picture
Oh, you mean his hair?
up.
The hairdo? I'm guessing he chooses these photos.
Probably.
Okay, so Mr. Trump is, I don't know if it's him or if it's his administration, but he's posting this on his own
President
profile.
Trump.
And he's saying, hey, we might help bring down the cost, the monthly cost of houses even more with a 50-year mortgage. What do you think about this?
You know, I don't know, man, because I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know. A 50-year more, I don't know. It doesn't fit with society today. Like our grandparents, like my grandparents, they bought a house 3 or 4 years after they got married. They lived in an apartment. They bought a house 3 or 4 years after they got married. My grandmother died in that house. My grandfather, when he lived there until he was unable to take care of himself any longer, he was in that house 50 years. How old am I? Like 58? I think I've owned a dozen houses, maybe more than that I've actually lived in.
You haven't stayed for 58 years in your house?
No, I haven't even stayed in the same state for 58 years.
Yeah, I watched Trump get interviewed on this, and he was getting grilled by it was a Fox News reporter, and he said, you know what, people measure themselves on monthly payments. And at the end of the day, if this softens the monthly payment, this is a good thing.
Yeah, but you know what? This is where I disagree. My grandparents grew up in the Depression. So they had no credit, like they didn't live on credit. Somewhere along the way, we've been conditioned to live on credit. What's our worth is how much debt I can service on a monthly basis. We had the highest savings during COVID. Since COVID, U.S. savings have gone in the toilet. There is no security in that. So this is about lifestyle rather than sound financial living. And I'm kind of against that. I really am. But I don't know that this mortgage 30-year versus 50-year is going to impact that. It's a societal thing. People are servicing debt. It's a society today of instant gratification.
Let me ask this. Would you rather someone be a lifetime renter or be in a 50-year mortgage?
Wow, that's a tough question. That's a tough question.
That was easy for me.
Really? Because is your house an asset or a liability?
Well, I believe that when people own, whether it's a 30-year or 50-year, when they have the mentality of ownership, they're going to do more. They're going to go to Home Depot. They're going to spend. They're going to raise their kids there. They're going to plant some roots. Whereas in a rental, they might not be planting a fruit tree in the backyard.
I 100% agree with you from that perspective, a strictly financial perspective. If you have to have a 50-year mortgage in order to afford the house, should you be going to Home Depot and buying anything?
Yeah.
Back to the whole debt service thing. I don't know. It's a tough one. It really is.
Financially, they're both probably par, renting versus
right.
50-year. Just, I think for society, it's better to have roots. That's my humble
We
opinion.
live in Florida. How many people do you know are from Florida? There's like 7 people from Florida. Everybody else has left and everybody else has migrated in.
It's got to be 10%.
Not even close. We're mostly New York.
All right, next one. Fannie and Freddie. This is coming from Director Pulte. He's saying Fannie and Freddie, they're evaluating doing assumable mortgages. This is again to help stimulate housing market. They know there's a whole bunch of people sitting on 3% interest rates from back in the COVID days, and they're not selling. Nobody wants to sell because then they have to go take out a new mortgage at 6+%. So nobody wants to sell. What do you think about Fannie and Freddie offering assumable mortgages?
Well, when I first heard about this, I thought this was fantastic because they said all mortgages, so I'm assuming that's going to come into the multifamily space too. All right, let's even just put that fact aside. If you've got a 3% mortgage right now, or 3.5% mortgage, or 2.5% mortgage, and you sell, you're stuck because you're not going to get a mortgage like that again. That means you're going to be able to afford less house, which may be okay for people that are downsizing. But the reality is when you sell, you got to buy unless you've got another place to go. And I don't know how much real impact it's going to have. And the other question is, and lack of information on my part, I don't know if it's going to be proactive, which would make sense, right? But if they make it proactive for like houses or mortgages from 5 years ago, and I remember when I got a mortgage at 2.98%, I was mad because everybody else, I just missed the 2.25%, right? Anyways, if I can go back and recapture that. But then my immediate question is how do you change the contracts that already exist? Like you'd have to literally change that mortgage in order to make that possible.
You know, I agree with you that they should not be able to, but I also know that during COVID, they just magically rewrote them so that people could miss payments and then make up for it on the 30-year mark. So I think that Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, they
I
could
don't
do-
think it's necessarily legal, but if the public wants it, they'll do it.
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
All right.
This is impressive. This next slide is pretty darn impressive.
So this is GDP growth from 1998 till present time, state by state. Let us know in the chat, which state do you think grew the most in that time period? What state grew the most? We'd love to know that. Chris, what do you think?
New York City.
New York City. So
And GDP.
New York City, let's see, where does it rank? 65% growth. It's the whole state, though. It's not just the city.
Yep.
The winner was North Dakota. 164%
That's insane, right?
GDP growth. Yeah. Another shocker?
Well, let me wait. I just figured out why. I really did just figure out why.
They started with the farm fields.
They started with nothing. And if you have $1 and you put 164 in there, you now have 164% growth. That makes sense. We're running out of land in other places of the country. So North Dakota is starting to, population growth in there is forcing the GDP up. That makes sense to me now.
Maybe we should reconsider that multifamily that we passed on up there.
No, it's way too cold for me.
Utah was another surprise, 157% growth. I actually thought that Florida would be at the top. It's right in the middle. It's right in the middle, 113% growth.
That is a little shocking, right?
Yeah, Louisiana and Mississippi hit the bottom of the ranks, 23%.
But that makes
Louisiana.
sense to me. Such dispersed growth of dispersed residency. There's not a lot of people there, and it's very spread out. And people left in mass exodus, past 5 years.
So this is interesting. We're pulling these stats up because when you're buying multifamily specifically, the value of the property is driven off of the NOI, net operating income. When you've got a strong economy, when you've got jobs moving in, you can typically move rents up with that strong economy. If you got a weak one, it's the opposite.
Look at California. I would have never thought that.
Yeah, California.
With 115%, it outgrew Florida.
Just by a hair. A
But
little bit more than-
like chinny chin chin.
My old stomping grounds, Minnesota, was kind of in the bottom, 68%.
Not at all.
Michigan, very, very bottom.
That's why I got out of there. Ever since the auto industry left.
Next one, multifamily is continuing to defy the skeptics on their absorption. So rent growth has been a little bit elusive. There's been a whole bunch of people, immigrants primarily, that are no longer renting.
Yeah, that's very recent though, yeah.
Yeah, so rent growth has been a little bit stifled, but the absorption rate, every single critic that's out there said, hey, you guys built too much, you overbuilt, and you're never going to absorb this, or it's going to take years. And what the stats are actually showing is that they're being absorbed in record numbers. So even the new apartment buildings right now are filling up. All right, next up, we are going to put the Secretary of Labor on. They are got a kind of a big announcement happening right now with H-1B visas. Let's let her give the breaking report.
So you kind of brought up the H-1B program, where there are companies across this nation who use this program, but they've either abused it to get into the program or they're abusing it within the program. So I have launched an enforcement initiative, Project Firewall, to protect the American worker first against foreign labor and the abuse that these companies possibly have done. We have over 175 investigations that we've opened. And for the first time in history, as a Secretary of Labor, I have signed those investigations personally because we want to make sure that these companies are not abusing. We want to make sure that they're protecting the American worker first by, one, posting the jobs available to Americans. Two, if they do need to use the H-1B visa program within the program, we have to make sure that they're paying those fair wages, not to depress the American wages. And if that employer leaves that company, they have to make sure that they're posting that with the government so that we know where those employers have gone. And
so a couple of big hammers being swung at this whole H-1B visa. Of course, we announced a couple weeks ago that They upped the charge for this to companies. It used to be really cheap, like $1,000,
$1,700. Yeah.
$1,700.
Yeah.
Now they made it closer to six figures.
Yeah.
And on top of that, they're going back and they're investigating current H-1B visas. What's going on here, Chris? And what are your thoughts?
Well, so listen, I have a couple of H-1B employees in my other company, and we absolutely pay them wages competitive in the market. One of the reasons that we have one of our employees, we have a very specialized technology that we couldn't find a U.S. and we hunted for 6 months in order to find an employee to do that job. But listen, there are people who will come from other countries and work for pennies, and she's targeting employers that are taking advantage of that. They pay the money, get in the H-1B program, and then pay, $25,000 a year, where an American employer or a U.S. employee would require $50,000. I'm all for this. I think that, I'm America first. I really am. And, if that affects the bottom line of some products and some things, so be it. Rather, I believe that charity begins at home. I give it home first. I think I should spend it home first. Just as my opinion and my experience.
Yeah, I think that the administration agrees with you right now, and that's why they're pushing it so fast. So H-1B visas, that'll be a difficult feat going forward. Now, next, I want to...
Oh, please, do we even have to talk about this?
I got to call our attention to this, Chris.
Why?
Because it's potentially the end of the longest government shutdown in history.
It is potentially another day in the longest government shutdown in history.
So
Because we thought, like, the stock market responded like it was done on Sunday, but
oh my goodness.
it wasn't done. I made a ton of money.
Chris yells from his office, and I can hear him. I'm like, "What's going on?" And he's like, "Stock market, it's up,
Crazy,
way up."
crazy yesterday.
And that's because everyone was betting that this
It
whole
was over,
shutdown
and then it fell
done.
apart.
And it's not quite done yet. So here's the latest, and this could change literally because they're voting on it still again today. The House failed to pass the resolution. They whipped up another one to do another short-term funding resolution, and it's got to be voted on by midnight tonight. If it goes through, the Senate is expected to follow. If it doesn't, then who knows? It'll be more negotiation.
You know
in
what?
more days.
My brain went into neutral when you said the House is doing whippets.
Whip.
I believe it with the way this whole insanity. They're all high. They're all stoned. Like this. Come on, really, get together, guys. Let's get the government back to work. There are people's lives being affected. Like this is not cool. This is not cool at all. Come on, do something.
We were just speaking with the seller of a multifamily property that we're bidding on, and we were going through what this administration has proposed, and it's been reported right here on this show. We broke the news when we said, hey, Section 8 rentals, HUD vouchers, they're getting cut. They're maybe not entirely abolished, but they're getting pulled back, way back. And we were speaking with the seller about it, and the seller's like, Never gonna happen.
Never gonna happen. And so my response was, yeah, just like those tariffs are never gonna happen, right? And she goes, oh, I knew that was gonna happen. And I'm like, lady, you're nuts. Like, just get real. Listen, if your primary source of revenue in your multifamilies right now is Section 8, get nervous and get nervous fast. Start doing something about it. It's just, I'm not always right, but when I am, it's scary because I think that you're saying 50%. I'm gonna say 90% is gonna be gone. I believe that the only long-term people who should be on these type of programs long-term should be physically or mentally disabled in some way or form, veterans who are suffering from mental health issues as a result of their service, and people who just there is no other people. Everybody else should be on it short-term as a hand up. Not a handout. Listen, there stuff happens, divorce happens, guy leaves, he's not being financially responsible to his family, mom needs a safe place to live. I believe the Section 8 should step in. I don't believe, there's a video going on TikTok with this woman talking about, I haven't had a job 15 years, and she's very proud of the fact that she's entitled to this program. And the word entitled is the problem. You are not entitled to live off of my hard work. If you're listening to this right now and you're living in Section 8 housing as a lifestyle, I have no time for you. If you're in a situation that's temporary and you're looking to make a change, you're going to school, you're trying to better yourself. My wife refused to go on government assistance. She was in an abusive marriage, raising 3 kids. She started a daycare in her house, raised those children on her own, put herself through college, and raised herself through the corporate ladder. If she can do it as a 22-year-old single woman, there's no reason that other people in this world who are physically and mentally able to do it, to do it. I'm sorry. It's
No,
very personal to me.
no, it's spot on. And there's actually a viral video going around just last night from the food program. So the video that you were talking about, the woman,
Yeah.
15 years, and she was showing all the food that she had in a different video from WIC benefits. Anyways, that's the same status. Like
Yeah.
right now, they're busting all the fraud that's been mixed in with it, and they're busting all the people that are using it and abusing it. And it's got to change. It does.
When I was a kid, I grew up in some really, really difficult parts of town. There were bodegas or corner stores or whatever you want to call them that would pay cash money for food stamps. Back then they were like paper, dollar bills and stuff. 50 cents on the dollar or 30 cents on the dollar. They would literally buy them and turn them in. That program is rampant with fraud. I also believe that if you're on these programs, you should have to succumb to drug testing and some kind of work requirement or school requirement. You're putting in applications or you're attending school full time. I don't know, but these are my personal opinions. I've never accepted any of that, and there's been times when I've been homeless in my life.
All right, next up, I've got to get into a little bit of New York. So the largest trucking company,
You're the only one that wants to go to New York right now. If you want to get into New York, everybody else is leaving.
largest trucking company in the United States has officially come out and said that they are done doing business in the state of New York. They went on to cite some of the problems with just doing business in general and the costs that are going to soar out of control thanks to the new mayor, the new sheriff in town that's taking over.
Well, what you think failed to mention is the millionaire tax that's coming into the state of New York. So if you make it a few dollars, expect the socialistic people now to be putting their hand out into your pocket and taking more out. If you're in New York.
Next up, if you're looking for stock tips, we don't do stock tips on this show, but apparently Nancy Pelosi, that her earnings just came out. She made $133 million off of stock market investments during her time in office. And it was something around, it was like 1,700% return. She outperformed all hedge fund managers. She outperformed the S&P 500. She outperformed NASDAQ. She was better than all of them. Chris, what kind of crystal ball did she have?
Well, I don't know, but when Martha Stewart had those kind of rates, they gave her 3 hots and a cot. Feel me? They put her in jail. You don't think that maybe she has a little bit of insider information she's trading on? $1 million.
16, let's put that up there. Okay, 16,930% return. That's pretty good, right? Stock tips from Nancy?
Yeah. Hey, listen, if you are going to trade in the stock market, there's services out there that will go out and tell you what the politicians are buying and selling because they have to divulge that. It's a little bit late sometimes, so maybe, the stock's already broken or whatever. But I've gotten some great stock tips that way, and I'm here to tell you, there's a certain amount of money that I have in my life that I gamble with, and that's my slush fund, and I've had pretty good returns just following the politicians. But she's one to follow.
Yes, she just officially retired too. So
you said retired.
She's not going to run again. She's going to be done after this. So, okay, this next one, Chris, it hit home for me, and it may for you. Let me explain what's happening. So, we have a restaurant in Minneapolis that was allegedly feeding kids. They said that they were feeding up to 4,000 kids per day. Turns out they were a big sham. They took $12 million, federal dollars. They stole it, saying that they were feeding kids. Turns out government did a little sting operation. They took video footage, and they figured out that this is just a big scam. This hit home for me because it's Minnesota, number one.
How do you think I feel about it?
You feed kids.
Yeah, they should hang these people. Like people who take advantage of children and the elderly, you should shoot them. I just have if they're found guilty and 2 people can attest to it, do what Texas does. Move them to the front of the line. You know about that, right? Let's not talk about it right now. Keep going.
I'm going to change gears. We're going to talk tariffs, and then we'll wrap up today just talking a little bit about a potential deal. So tariff situation. Remember, we reported on this going back now 5 or 6 months ago about how tariffs, they're not a new thing. They were actually the thing that funded the government 100 years ago in the United States of America. And they started to get phased out after the Federal Reserve came in. Anyways, they're fully implemented again. Trump has been really hitting hard with tariffs, and he's gone as far to say that he's going to start giving $2,000 tax rebates to U.S. citizens next year,
Everybody but me.
except for this guy. He said Chris Lavin's not allowed. He makes too much money. Anyways, the Supreme Court gets to weigh in the final decision on this. The Trump administration was sued. It got bumped up to the Supreme Court. Well, they're expected to have their decision by Saturday of this week. Chris, your thoughts? Oh, you got that look.
Yeah, like listen. Okay, so let's be a little bit more transparent. Okay. The tariffs are not the issue in this court case. Okay, so let me make that clear. The tariffs are not the argument in this court case. The argument is the executive powers that he utilized to initiate the tariffs. That's what they're going after to pull back the tariffs. And you know what? I cringed when you said, yeah, tariffs is how the country ran itself until the Federal Reserve. I am so glad we have that dang Federal Reserve. That's just another reason to bring joy to my heart with this Federal Reserve. I'm good with the tariffs, but you know, this headline, the Supreme Court orders Trump to repay tariffs. U.S. importers say it wouldn't be messy. I don't know how it wouldn't be messy. Like
Extremely.
like how do you even do that?
$2
Like
trillion plus are sitting in that account right now.
I don't even know like how you do that. Like you sit there. All I can think of is, you ever seen the movie The Jerk? Where he had the thing and it turns out it was bad. It was bad for everybody. He's writing checks out to people for $2.36, and he's like, is Trump gonna be sitting at home right? Anybody that saw the movie, you know what I'm talking about. Listen, I'm for the tariffs. I think it's just another flat tax. Flat tax that's everybody's necessary or applied against everybody uniformly. I'm good with things that apply for uniformly. If people have more money, they make more money, they spend more money, they pay more in taxes, right? It's fair. So any of those types of things, I think are fair, and that's enough of my rant.
Awesome. Chris, just to round out the show today, people are looking for end-of-year deals.
Oh, listen, we got one thing that's brewing. We got two things brewing, but one thing that's just, we haven't really solidified yet, but that might be an amazing tax play. And another thing that we can't discuss openly, you have to have undersigned NDA. We must have a relationship with you. In order for you to have a relationship with us, you got to get to know us. The best and fastest way to get to know us is to jump on our wait list. If you guys can put up the wait list link for us, that would be great. Or put link in the comments below. Very important, put link in the comments below. We have two amazing deals. One deal, we raised $1 million a day for 14 days in a row. There's a little bit of room left in that one. And this other deal is a tax play that maybe, if we can get it worked out fast enough, for 2025, if you put $1 in, you may get as much as $1.50 back in accelerated and bonus depreciation. Purely tax play, not a lot of cash flow, probably in the 5% 5% preferred return cash flow range, but big tax rebates. And this is the time of the year that people are looking for those tax plays. So again, none of this works if you are not on our wait list. I'm here to tell you, there's a lot of deals that we can't put out in the open because of SEC regulations. Please get to know us. Yes.
Yeah, our last couple of deals, they blitzed, they filled really fast.
So fast.
So this is the best way. Jump on the wait list, type the word list down in the comments below, and our team will get you a link over for it as soon as we see the comment.
Yeah, that first deal, we never even ran it out on the internet. Nobody, if you didn't know us, you didn't get it.
Chris, anything you want to say to wrap today?
Yes, please. No matter what it is you have or what talents you've been blessed with today, please utilize them to the best of your ability, because that's what God wants for you, right? He doesn't want you to bury your talents under a stone so that you can turn them as they were given to you. He wants you to be fruitful and multiply. Whatever that means for you, it may be money, it may be your ability to teach, it may be any of those things, right? Your ability to share, ability to do good things in this world, whatever that looks like. Please, please do it today. I want to thank you all for being here, because if we didn't have anybody to share our knowledge and experience with, it would just die with us and it would be useless. You blessed us for spending time with us today. Now I ask God to bless you. Thank you all very much. God bless.
See you next week, guys.
Bye-bye.